In order to do this lesson, you need to know the following formulas. So I have written them down for you. Please take a minute, pause the video, and write down the formula so you can memorize them. The first thing we're going to do is find the perimeter. You have already done this before. In fact, you've already taken a test over this, so it should be just a review. If you look at number 1, we have a width of 3x and a length of 6x. To find the perimeter of the rectangle, I'm going to fill in the missing sides, and I'm just going to add all of them up. 3x plus 6x plus 3x plus 6x is 18x. Remember, you can only combine like terms, and whenever you add, the exponent does not change. Number 2 is very similar. I have a plus 2a plus 3a plus 3a. That gives me 9a. And then I have b plus 4b, which gives me 5b. The perimeter for number 2 is 9a plus 5b. Number 3 is very similar. I have a plus 2a plus 3a, which gives me 6a. And I have 1 plus negative 2, which is negative 1. Now we're going to move on and actually find the area. This is where your laws of exponents come into play. So if you look at number 4, I have a rectangle. My formula for the area of a rectangle is base times height. So I'm actually multiplying 4a times 2a plus 3. I'm multiplying my base times my height. To do this, I'm just going to use distributive property. So 4a plus 2a is 8a squared, and 4a times 3 is 12a. Since a squared and a are not like terms, I cannot combine them, so I stop right here. For number 5, I have a trapezoid, which has a longer formula. I am looking at half of base 1 plus base 2 times my height. So base 1 is 5b plus 1. Base 2 is 3b minus 2. So 5b plus 3b is 8b. 1 plus negative 2 is negative 1. And I am multiplying that times my height, which is 4b. I'm going to put all of that over 2 to represent the 1/2. So first I'm going to distribute. 4b times 8b is 32b squared. 4b times negative 1 is negative 4b. And all of this is being divided by 2. So remember, whenever you're dividing, you have to divide both terms by 2, and we end up getting 16b squared minus 2b. Now I am finished. Number 6 is finding the area of a triangle, so I'm going to use my formula half of base times height. So 3x squared times 8x all over 2. Well, 3x squared times 8x is 24x cubed. When I divide that by 2, I get 12x cubed. So now we're going to mix it, and we're going to find area and perimeter. And this is really important so you know the difference between the two. When you're finding perimeter, you are just adding up all of your sides. So for example, 4x plus 6x plus 4x plus 6x is 20x. Negative 3 plus 2 plus negative 3 plus 2 is negative 2. I'm sorry. Yes. So I'm done with that one. Now the area is where it becomes a little more complicated. I am multiplying base times height. So I have 4x minus 3 times 6x plus 2. Now if you look here, it is not distributive property. This is actually set up for FOIL. So I'm going to multiply 4x times 6x, and I get 24x squared. 4x times 2, which is 8x. Negative 3 times 6x, which is negative 18x. And negative 3 times 2, which is negative 6. Here I can actually combine some like terms. I have 8x and negative 18x, and that gives me negative 10x. So my area is 24x squared minus 10x minus 6. So it's really important you understand the difference between perimeter and area. When you're multiplying, your exponents are going to change, but when you're adding, they are not. Number 8, we're going to do the same thing. For perimeter, I'm just adding up all the sides. So 4x plus 5x plus 3x gives me 12x. But for area, I have to multiply base times height over 2. So I have 3x times 4x all over 2. We actually don't care about the 5x for the area. 3x times 4x is 12x squared, and 12x squared divided by 2 is 6x squared. Now, this is kind of a bonus question, but it's important that we understand how to set it up. The first one says, what is the area of the rectangle in terms of h? So we're finding the area of a rectangle, which is base times height. I am multiplying 5h times h plus 3. So when I distribute that, 5h times h is 5h squared. 5h times 3 is 15h. Now it's asking for the area of the white triangle, so I'm going to use base times height divided by 2, which is 4h times h all over 2. 4h times h is 4h squared, and that divided by 2 is 2h squared. Now, if we're trying to find the area of the shaded region, we're going to subtract the area of the rectangle minus 2h squared, which is the area of the triangle. We're finding the difference between them. So 5h squared plus 15h minus 2h squared. My only like terms I have here are 5h squared and negative 2h squared, and we get 3h squared plus 15h. Now, the last question says, evaluate the expression you found for the area of the shaded region using h equals 4. All that means is we're going to take the area we found, 3h squared plus 15h, and we're going to plug in 4. So I have 3 times 4 squared plus 15 times 4. And we get 3 times 16 plus 15 times 4, which gives me 48 plus 60, and we end up getting 108 as our final answer. All right, the last question we have says we have an area of 36x to the 7th, y to the 5th. We're talking about a rectangle here, and it says to find the width if the length is 3x to the 4th, y squared. So if you think about our formula for area, we are multiplying length times width, or base times height. We don't know the width, but we know that the length is 3x to the 4th, y squared. And we know the area is 36x to the 7th, y to the 5th. So to find my width, I'm going to solve for w by dividing both sides by 3x to the 4th, y squared. Here's where your dividing rules come in for laws of exponents. 36 divided by 3 is 12. X to the 7th over x to the 4th, we subtract those exponents and we get x to the 3rd. Y to the 5th over y squared gives me y to the 3rd.